Ah, Africa. The land of roaring lions, sneaky leopards, and, wait for it, dung beetles rolling poop balls like they're in some kind of Olympic event. But before we dive into the flashy stuff, let's rewind. Way back. We're talking millions of years ago, when the only thing roaring was the planet itself, shifting continents around like a jigsaw puzzle. So grab your safari hat, because we're going on an epic journey through time to discover how Africa became the ultimate wildlife theme park. First things first, Africa didn't always look like, well, Africa. Around 200 million years ago, all the continents were smushed together in one big supercontinent called Pangaea. Picture it as a giant pizza before someone decided to slice it up. Then came the breakup. Think of it as a dramatic divorce, with Africa keeping the lion's share of the cool dinosaurs. By the time the dust settled, Africa found itself parked at the center of the world, which, let's face it, is a pretty prime location. Thanks to its position, it became a hotspot for biodiversity. Tropical rainforests sprouted, deserts formed, and grasslands stretched as far as the eye could see. Basically, Mother Nature was flexing her creative muscles. Before there were lions, zebras, or that one annoying mosquito buzzing in your ear, Africa was home to some serious heavyweights. Ever heard of Paraceratherium? No? That's probably because they've been extinct for millions of years. But these guys were like giraffes on steroids. They stood over 16 feet tall and weighed as much as 4 elephants. Imagine trying to fit one of those in your garage. And then there were the dinosaurs. Africa's Jurassic Park phase was truly wild. Spinosaurus, the largest carnivorous dinosaur ever, roamed the rivers, snacking on fish like a prehistoric sushi chef. Meanwhile, herbivorous giants like Brachiosaurus were out there necking, literally, to reach treetops. You think giraffes have it good? These guys were the OG tall dudes. Cue the sad violins, folks, because about 66 million years ago, a big old asteroid decided to gatecrash Earth's party. Dinosaurs? Gone. Paraceratherium? Poof! The asteroid basically hit the reset button on life. But Africa wasn't about to throw in the towel. It became a blank canvas for evolution to do its thing. In the aftermath, mammals started to rise. Picture a bunch of scrappy little creatures saying, "Our time has come." These weren't the glamorous beasts we see today. But hey, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was the Serengeti. Fast forward a few million years, and Africa's wildlife was starting to look a little more familiar. Early ancestors of elephants, rhinos, and hippos emerged, but they were, well, a bit rough around the edges. Imagine if evolution was trying to sculpt a masterpiece but kept getting distracted by TikTok. One standout was the woolly mammoth's cousin, the African mammoth. These guys were rocking fur coats long before fashion was a thing. They wandered around the continent like they owned the place, which, to be fair, they kind of did. Meanwhile, giraffes were figuring out their long neck situation. Legend has it, one giraffe looked at a tall tree and said, "I'm getting those leaves no matter what." Boom. Evolution. Now let's talk about the predators, because what's an African ecosystem without a little drama? The ancestors of today's lions, leopards, and cheetahs were starting to make their mark. Imagine these guys sitting around a table, plotting their rise to apex predator status. Cheetahs, for instance, decided speed was the way to go. They basically turned into nature's sprinters, capable of going from 0 to 60 miles per tiempo faster than your average sports car. Lions, on the other hand, opted for the whole strength in numbers strategy. Pride life wasn't just a vibe, it was a survival tactic. But the real MVP? The crocodile. These guys haven't changed much in over 200 million years. They're like the Clint Eastwood of the animal kingdom. Old school, tough, and not to be messed with. About 10 million years ago, something magical happened. Forests began to give way to open grasslands, and the African savanna was born. This was a game changer. Grazing animals like zebras, antelopes, and wildebeests thrived, turning the savanna into an all-you-can-eat buffet. Predators adapted too. Lions perfected the art of the ambush, while hyenas, well, they decided to be the cleanup crew. And let's not forget vultures, the ultimate opportunists. Ever see a vulture and think that bird's got attitude? It's because they know they're the last ones eating, but they're still eating. It's not all savannas and deserts in Africa. The continent's rivers and lakes are teeming with life. Hippos, for example, might look like giant couch potatoes, but don't be fooled. These guys are surprisingly fast and dangerously territorial. Think of them as the angry bouncers of the river world. Then there's the Nile crocodile. These prehistoric beasts have perfected the sit and wait technique, lurking beneath the water's surface like some kind of scaly submarine. Pro tip, if a crocodile winks at you, it's not flirting. Run! And finally, let's talk about the ultimate plot twist, humans. Our ancestors first appeared in Africa around 2 million years ago. And boy, did they shake things up. Armed with tools, fire, and way too much curiosity, humans began to hunt, gather, and eventually settle. But here's the thing. Humans weren't just takers. They were also creators. They shaped the landscape, helped spread seeds, and even domesticated animals. Sure, we've made a lot of mistakes along the way, but our connection to Africa's wildlife is as old as time itself. Welcome to the Serengeti and Masai Mara, where Mother Nature throws an annual party so grand, even Coachella looks like a backyard barbecue. It's called the Great Migration, and it's not just a journey, it's a drama, a thriller, and sometimes a comedy starring wildebeests, zebras, and their sworn frenemies, the predators. Buckle up, because we're diving into the epic saga of 1.5 million wildebeests and their loyal entourage of 200,000 zebras, all marching across 1,800 miles of pure, untamed wilderness. Spoiler alert, not everyone makes it. Picture this. It's January, and the Serengeti grasslands are looking fresh, lush, green, and brimming with all-you-can-eat buffet vibes. This is where our story begins. Wildebeests, those scruffy, oddly majestic creatures that look like they were assembled in the dark, are busy calving. Fun fact, about 500,000 baby wildebeests are born during this season, which is like a maternity ward explosion on hooves. And let's talk about zebras. They're the wildebeests' besties in this adventure, partly because they're excellent at spotting predators and partly because, well, they're fabulous. Every zebra's stripes are unique, kind of like nature's fingerprint. Meanwhile, the calves are learning to walk, or rather wobble, within minutes of being born. Wildebeest parenting tip. Teach your kids to run before they learn to walk, because lions don't take rain checks. By March, the party's over in the southern Serengeti. The grass has been munched to oblivion, and the wildebeests, zebras, and a handful of gazelles decide it's time to hit the road.
Cue the migration music, something epic, like the soundtrack from The Lion King, but with extra hoofbeats.
Now, this isn't a leisurely stroll. The journey north is grueling. There are rivers to cross, predators lurking in every shadow, and the constant threat of losing the group. It's basically the animal kingdom's version of a cross-country marathon, except you're also someone's lunch.
Oh, did I mention the predators?
Because this is where things get spicy. Lions, leopards, cheetahs, and hyenas see the migration as an all-inclusive buffet. For the lions, it's all about ambush tactics. They'll hide in tall grass, waiting for an unsuspecting wildebeest to wander too close. Think of it as nature's most intense game of hide and seek. Hyenas, on the other hand, are like the jokers of the savannah. They'll chase down the weakest members of the herd, cackling the entire time. And cheetahs? Well, they're out here proving that speed kills. One moment you're a happy wildebeest calf. The next, you're a cheetah's dinner reservation. But the real nightmare fuel comes in the form of crocodiles. These scaly villains are masters of patience. They'll lie perfectly still in the water, blending in like logs, until a wildebeest makes the fateful decision to cross. Then bam! Dinner is served. Pro tip, if you're ever reincarnated as a wildebeest, avoid rivers at all costs. Speaking of rivers, let's talk about the Mara River, the most infamous stop on the migration route. By July, the herds reach this watery obstacle and it's pure chaos. Imagine thousands of wildebeests and zebras crowding the banks, debating whether or not to jump in. The first brave soul takes the plunge, and suddenly it's a stampede. Wildebeests are leaping, slipping, and sometimes falling on top of each other. Crocodiles, meanwhile, are having the time of their lives. It's a feeding frenzy, and you can almost hear them saying, "Thanks for stopping by." But here's the thing. The herd's sheer numbers are their greatest weapon. Sure, a few unlucky ones get snapped up, but the majority make it across. It's survival of the determined, and wildebeests are nothing if not determined. Seriously, these guys have a one-track mind when it comes to grass. By August, the survivors reach the Masai Mara in Kenya, where the grass is greener and the living's easy. For a while. This is the reward for their hard journey. Endless fields of fresh, delicious grass. It's like arriving at an all-you-can-eat buffet after months of road trip snacks. But the predators are still lurking. Lions patrol their territories. Leopards lounge in trees waiting for the perfect ambush moment. And hyenas, well, they're still laughing. And don't forget about the opportunistic vultures circling overhead, ready to clean up the leftovers. Come October, it's time for the herds to head back south. Why? Because the rains are on the move, and where there's rain, there's grass. The The cycle begins anew, and the whole process repeats itself. It's a never-ending loop of life, death, and drama, like the best soap opera you've ever seen, but with more hooves. So, what can we learn from the Great Migration? For one, teamwork makes the dream work. The wildebeests and zebras stick together, relying on each other for protection and survival. Second, life's a journey, not a destination. Sure, the grass might be greener on the other side, but getting there is half the adventure. And finally, never underestimate the power of persistence. The migration is a testament to resilience, determination, and the will to survive. It's messy, chaotic, and sometimes heartbreaking, but it's also beautiful. A true celebration of life in all its wild, unpredictable glory. So next time you're stuck in traffic or waiting in line for coffee, just remember, at least you're not dodging crocodiles in the Mara River. Life could always be wilder. Ladies and gentlemen, meet the royalty of the savannah, lions. These magnificent creatures are the undisputed rulers of the African plains, with a crown that's not just metaphorical, but etched in their very presence. Let's pull back the curtain on their regal lives, filled with drama, hunting, and, surprise, surprise, a lot of napping. Because being king isn't all glitz and glamour, it's also about knowing when to chill. First off, let's talk about the royal court, the pride. A typical lion pride includes around 10 to 15 members, though some prouder prides can boast up to 30 lions. It's like a sitcom family, complete with drama, hierarchy, and the occasional sibling rivalry. At the top, you've got the dominant male or males, often referred to as coalition kings. Think of them as the CEOs of this feline corporation. Their job is to protect the pride, sire cubs, and look intimidating. Then there are the lionesses, the backbone of the pride. These queens don't just lounge around, they're the hunters, providers, and caretakers. In a way, they're running the show while the males bask in the glory. And let's not forget the cubs, those adorable furballs who spend their days playing, learning, and occasionally annoying the adults. Sound familiar? It's basically every family gathering ever. When it comes to hunting, lionesses are the MVPs. Picture this, a group of sleek, golden predators moving silently through the tall grass, their eyes locked on a herd of unsuspecting zebras. It's a coordinated attack, like a feline SWAT team. They'll stalk, chase, and pounce with precision, taking down prey that's often twice their size. But let's not romanticize it too much. Hunting is tough, and success isn't guaranteed. In fact, lions only succeed about 25% of the time. Imagine working that hard for dinner and still ending up with nothing. It's a humbling reminder that even kings face challenges. And while the lionesses are doing all the heavy lifting, the males often show up just in time for the feast. Their job? To claim the first bite. It's the ultimate "I helped" moment, even if their only contribution was looking majestic in the background. Speaking of food, let's address a common misconception. Lions don't always eat what they kill. Sometimes they'll scavenge, stealing meals from other predators like hyenas, leopards, or cheetahs. It's not exactly royal behavior, but hey, survival trumps dignity. Besides, if you've ever eaten someone else's leftovers, you really can't judge. Then there's the hierarchy at the dinner table. The dominant male gets the first bite, followed by the lionesses, and finally the cubs. It's a system that ensures the strongest members of the pride stay strong. And if you're wondering what happens when food is scarce, let's just say it's every lion for themselves. Cue the sibling squabbles. Now here's a fun fact, lions are lazy. Like really lazy. They spend up to 20 hours a day sleeping or lounging. Why? Because hunting and ruling the savannah is exhausting. Plus, lions are the ultimate energy savers. Why waste calories when you can let someone else do the work? But don't mistake their laziness for weakness. This rest and recharge strategy ensures they're ready to spring into action when it matters most. And let's be honest, who wouldn't want to trade places with a lion during nap time? Lions are incredibly social creatures, which sets them apart from other big cats. Their interactions range from affectionate head rubs and grooming sessions to intense territorial disputes. Watching a pride in action is like scrolling through the wildest group chat you've ever seen, full of bonding, bickering, and the occasional dramatic exit. Dominant males have a lot on their plate. They're constantly defending their territory from rival males, who'd love nothing more than to overthrow them and take over the pride. These battles can be brutal, with the losing male often driven out to live as a nomad. It's a harsh world, but it's also a reminder that even kings have to fight to keep their crowns. Raising cubs is a team effort, with the lionesses pooling their resources to care for the next generation. Cubs spend their early months hidden away from predators, under the watchful eyes of their mothers. As they grow, they learn essential skills like stalking, pouncing, and most importantly, how to share. Okay, maybe not that last one. Male cubs eventually leave the pride when they're around 2 years old, setting off on their own adventures. It's a bittersweet moment, but also a rite of passage. Female cubs, on the other hand, often stay with the pride, continuing the cycle of life. Lions may be kings, but their reigns are rarely peaceful. Rival males are always looking for an opportunity to take over, leading to intense battles that can change the pride's hierarchy overnight. It's a Game of Thrones, Savannah style, with high stakes and no room for mercy. But through all the drama, lions remain a symbol of strength, courage, and resilience. Their lives are a testament to the challenges and triumphs of survival in the wild. So next time you see a lion lounging in the grass, remember, beneath that lazy exterior beats the heart of a true king. Africa's Big Five, the lion, leopard, elephant, rhinoceros, and buffalo, are the continent's most iconic and revered creatures. Originally a term coined by hunters to describe the most dangerous animals to hunt on foot, it now symbolizes wildlife conservation and the awe-inspiring biodiversity of Africa. But these legends are more than just majestic animals. They're walking stories of survival, power, and a touch of humor. Let's meet these incredible beasts and uncover what makes each of them a true legend. We've already established that lions are the royalty of the savannah. But here's a little secret about kings. They're often snoozing. Lions spend up to 20 hours a day napping, which makes them the ultimate power nappers of the animal kingdom. When they're not dreaming about their next meal, lions are all about teamwork. Their hunting strategy is a masterclass in coordination. The lionesses do most of the hunting, while the males, well, let's just say they're really good at showing up for dinner. With their iconic roars heard up to 5 miles away, lions don't just rule the savannah, they announce it loudly. If lions are the kings, leopards are the secret agents of the savannah. Known for their stealth and agility, leopards can blend into their surroundings so well, you might walk right past one and never know it. And that's just how they like it. Leopards are expert tree climbers and often drag their prey high up into the branches to keep it safe from scavengers. Imagine having the strength to hoist a fully grown antelope into a tree, all while looking effortlessly cool. With their striking rosette-patterned coats, leopards are a living work of art, combining beauty and danger in equal measure. Elephants are the largest land animals on Earth, but don't let their size fool you. They're also among the most intelligent. With brains weighing over 10 pounds, elephants have incredible memories, complex social structures, and a penchant for mischief. These gentle giants communicate through low-frequency rumbles that can travel miles, and they're known to mourn their dead, a behavior that's as touching as it is rare in the animal kingdom. Watching a herd of elephants in action is like witnessing a family reunion, complete with the adorable baby that everyone dotes on and the grumpy elder who's seen it all. Rhinos look like they stepped out of a time machine. With their thick, armor-like skin and formidable horns, they're the tanks of the savannah. But don't let their tough exterior fool you. Rhinos are surprisingly sensitive creatures with poor eyesight and a love for mud baths. There are 2 types of rhinos in Africa: the white rhino, which is actually grey, and the black rhino, which is also grey. Confused? Don't worry, so are the rhinos. Despite their size and strength, rhinos face constant threats from poaching, making them one of the most critically endangered members of the Big Five. Last but not least, we have the African buffalo, an animal with a serious attitude. Known as one of the most dangerous animals in Africa, buffalo don't back down from a fight. With their massive horns and stocky build, they're like the linebackers of the savannah, tough, unpredictable, and not to be messed with. Buffalo are also surprisingly social, living in herds that can number in the hundreds. They'll defend each other from predators, and there's nothing quite as intimidating as a herd of angry buffalo charging in unison. Think of them as nature's version of a biker gang, fearsome, loyal, and always ready for action. The Big Five aren't just animals, they're symbols of Africa's untamed beauty and resilience. Each one plays a vital role in the ecosystem, from the lion's role as a top predator to the elephant's ability to shape the landscape. Together, they form a dynamic cast of characters that make Africa one of the most extraordinary places on Earth. So next time you hear about the Big Five, remember they're not just a checklist for safari goers, they're living legends, each with a story that's as wild as the continent they call home. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a thunderous round of applause to the elephants, the heavyweight champions of Africa's ecosystems. These majestic creatures aren't just the largest land animals on Earth. They're nature's landscapers, water engineers, and emotional support giants, all rolled into one. So, buckle up as we explore the intelligent and emotional world of elephants and uncover their massive impact on the environment. Spoiler alert, they're a big deal, literally. First things first, elephants have some serious grey matter. With brains weighing over 10 pounds, that's roughly the size of a watermelon, these giants are the Einsteins of the animal kingdom. They've been observed solving problems, using tools, and even mourning their dead. Yes, elephants grieve, and it's as heartbreaking as it sounds. Imagine a family gathering around a lost loved one, complete with touching trunk hugs and quiet reflection. If you don't feel a tug at your heartstrings, check your pulse. Their intelligence doesn't just stop at emotional depth. Elephants are known to recognize themselves in mirrors, which puts them in an elite club of self-aware animals. Meanwhile, your dog still thinks its reflection is another dog. Elephants, 1. Dogs, 0. If you think humans are chatty, wait until you meet an elephant. These social giants have a communication system that's as complex as a soap opera plot. They use a mix of vocalizations, body language, and infrasonic rumbles. Sound so low we can't even hear them. These rumbles can travel miles, like a long-distance phone call but without the roaming charges. Picture this. One elephant sends out a low rumble to warn the herd about a nearby predator. Another responds with a reassuring, "Got it, Brenda." Meanwhile, the baby elephant is probably chiming in with an adorable, "What's a predator?" It's like an elephant group chat, complete with emojis. Elephants don't just exist in their environment, they shape it, literally. Think of them as Mother Nature's construction crew. Need a waterhole? An elephant will dig one with its tusks. Overgrown vegetation? An elephant will clear it faster than a landscaper on a caffeine binge. Their appetite is another story entirely. Elephants can eat up to 300 pounds of food a day, which makes your midnight snack run look downright modest. But their eating habits serve a purpose. By knocking down trees and spreading seeds through their dung, yes, poop plays a starring role here, elephants ensure the savanna remains a diverse and thriving ecosystem. Essentially, they're the original eco-warriors, minus the solar panels. Elephants are not just smart, they're deeply emotional beings. They form tight-knit family groups led by a matriarch, who's basically the wisest grandma you've ever met. She knows where the best watering holes are, how to avoid danger, and probably makes a mean banana bread, if elephants could bake. Their bonds are so strong that they'll go to incredible lengths to protect each other. A baby elephant stuck in the mud? The whole herd springs into action like a superhero team, trunks and tusks working together. It's teamwork at its finest, and yes, you're allowed to cry. Life isn't all sunshine and watering holes for elephants. Their size, while impressive, makes them a target for poachers and habitat loss. Despite their importance to the ecosystem, elephants are endangered, with their numbers dwindling due to human activity. But don't count them out just yet. Conservation efforts are underway, and elephants are proving to be as resilient as they are remarkable. Plus, they've got a secret weapon, charm. One look at a baby elephant playing in the mud, and you'll be writing checks to wildlife charities faster than you can say trunk. Without elephants, Africa's ecosystems would collapse like a poorly built sandcastle. They're the unsung heroes of the environment, keeping everything in balance with their sheer presence. Whether they're digging waterholes, spreading seeds, or simply being their majestic, unforgettable selves, elephants are a vital part of the natural world. So next time you see an elephant, remember, you're not just looking at an animal. You're looking at a living, breathing, ecosystem-shaping, emotionally intelligent marvel of nature. And if that doesn't inspire awe, nothing will. Ladies and gentlemen, grab your binoculars and your popcorn, because it's time to witness the thrilling world of African predators in action. These cunning carnivores are not just hunters, they're strategists, athletes, and dare I say drama queens of the animal kingdom. From the lightning-fast cheetah to the crafty hyena, every hunt is a masterclass in survival, teamwork, and sometimes sheer audacity. So, let's dive into the lives of these incredible predators and explore their fascinating hunting tactics, with a touch of humor to keep things lively. If the animal kingdom had an Olympic Games, the cheetah would dominate the track events. With speeds reaching up to 70 miles per hour, this feline is the Usain Bolt of the savannah. But don't be fooled. Speed alone doesn't guarantee a successful hunt. Cheetahs are like sports cars, fast, sleek, but not built for endurance. They have about 20 seconds to catch their prey before they're out of gas. Talk about pressure! Picture this. A cheetah spots an unsuspecting impala grazing in the distance. The cheetah crouches low, its body a taut coil of muscle. Then boom! It's off like a furry missile, zigzagging to match the prey's frantic movements. The impala, realizing it's in a high-stakes game of tag, pulls off some impressive evasive maneuvers. But eventually, the cheetah's agility and sheer determination win out. It's a spectacle of speed, strategy, and, let's be honest, a bit of bad luck for the impala. And after all that effort, the cheetah has to eat quickly before other predators show up for an unsolicited dinner party. It's like cooking a gourmet meal, only to have your neighbors show up with empty plates. If cheetahs are the sprinters, leopards are the ninjas of the savannah. These elusive cats rely on stealth and surprise rather than speed. Leopards are masters of blending into their surroundings, using the dappled shadows of trees to become practically invisible. You might walk right past a leopard and never know it's there. Creepy, right? Leopards have a unique hunting strategy, the ambush. They'll lie in wait, perfectly still, until their prey wanders too close. Then with a burst of energy, they pounce. It's quick, efficient, and for the prey, absolutely terrifying. One of the leopard's most impressive tricks is its ability to haul its kill up a tree. Yes, a tree! Imagine dragging a full-grown antelope up a vertical trunk. While you're still trying to carry all your groceries in one trip, the leopard is hoisting a 200-pound dinner into the branches. This clever move keeps the meal safe from scavengers like hyenas, who are always looking for a free lunch. Speaking of hyenas, let's talk about these misunderstood predators. Hyenas often get a bad rap as scavengers, but they're actually skilled hunters in their own right. In fact, up to 80% of their meals come from their own kills. So next time someone calls you a hyena, take it as a compliment. It means you're resourceful. Hyenas are the ultimate team players. They hunt in packs, using their numbers to outmaneuver and overwhelm their prey. Their strategy is less about stealth and more about persistence. Think of them as the endurance runners of the predator world. They'll chase their prey over long distances, wearing it down until it has no energy left to fight back. And let's not forget their powerful jaws. Hyenas can crush bones with ease, giving them access to the nutritious marrow inside. It's like cracking open a pistachio, if the pistachio were the size of your arm. If hyenas are the endurance runners, African wild dogs are the synchronized swimmers of the savannah. These pack hunters have teamwork down to a science. They're so coordinated they could probably form a dance troupe if they weren't so busy being apex predators. Wild dogs use a combination of strategy, speed, and communication to take down their prey. Their hunts are like a well-executed heist movie, complete with distraction tactics and precise timing. One group will chase the prey while others flank it, cutting off any escape routes. It's a brutal but effective strategy that leaves little chance for the prey to get away. And the best part? Wild dogs share their spoils. After a successful hunt, they'll regurgitate food for the pups and older members of the pack who couldn't join the chase. It's heartwarming in a slightly gross way. In the world of predators, there's a constant power struggle. Leopards hide their kills to avoid hyenas. Hyenas gang up to steal from cheetahs. Lions, the so-called kings of the jungle, waltz in and take whatever they want. It's like a never-ending episode of Survivor Savannah Edition. But despite the competition, these predators play a crucial role in maintaining the balance of the ecosystem. By controlling prey populations, they prevent overgrazing and ensure that the environment remains healthy and sustainable. So, while their methods may seem brutal, their impact is vital. Predators in action are more than just hunters. They're athletes, strategists, and, yes, sometimes thieves. Each species brings its own unique style to the hunt, creating a dynamic and ever-changing drama on the African plains. From the speed of the cheetah to the cunning of the leopard, the persistence of the hyena, and the teamwork of wild dogs, these predators showcase the incredible diversity and ingenuity of nature. So next time you're watching a wildlife documentary, remember, you're not just seeing animals hunt. You're witnessing a masterclass in survival, strategy, and, let's be honest, a bit of chaos. And isn't that what makes life exciting? Now turn your eyes to the heavens as we dive into the fascinating world of Africa's bird life. From the majestic African fish eagle, with its piercing cry that could narrate a nature documentary all by itself, to the secretary bird, strutting around like it's late for a board meeting, these avian wonders bring a whole new level of drama and flair to the African wilderness.
Buckle up, because it's time to take flight.
Let's start with the African fish eagle, the opera singer of the avian world. Its haunting call is the soundtrack of Africa's waterways, a sound so iconic it should have its own ringtone. With a wingspan that'll make you do a double take, this bird glides over lakes and rivers like a feathery stealth bomber. The fish eagle is a master fisherman, swooping down with talons outstretched to snatch unsuspecting fish from the water. It's like a high-speed grocery run, except the fish don't get a say in the matter. But what if the fish eagle misses? No problem. It'll circle back, adjust its strategy and try again. Persistence is key, folks. Fun fact, fish eagles are notorious kleptoparasites. That's a fancy way of saying they'll happily steal food from other birds. Imagine working hard to catch a fish, only to have this feathery diver swoop in and swipe it. The audacity! Now, meet the secretary bird. A bird so stylish it looks like it's wearing eyeliner and a feathered hat. This tall, elegant creature is the supermodel of the savannah, but don't let its glamorous appearance fool you. The secretary bird is a ruthless predator with a kick that could rival a professional soccer player. Unlike most raptors, the secretary bird prefers to hunt on foot. It struts across the grasslands, stomping on snakes, rodents, and insects with the precision of a dance routine. Picture this. A cobra rears up thinking it's all that, and then BAM! The secretary bird delivers a roundhouse kick that would make Chuck Norris proud. These birds also have a flair for parenting. Secretary bird chicks are raised in large nests built high up in trees away from predators. It's like sending your kids to a gated community, complete with excellent views. Ah, vultures, the unsung heroes of the ecosystem. While they might not win any beauty contests, these scavengers play a crucial role in keeping the savannah clean. Think of them as the janitors of the wild, swooping in to tidy up after nature's messier moments. Vultures have an extraordinary sense of smell, capable of detecting a carcass from miles away. Once they spot their prize, they descend in droves, turning a lifeless zebra into a five-star buffet. It's not glamorous work, but someone's got to do it. And let's talk about that bald head. It's not just a fashion choice, it's practical. Feathers on their heads would get messy while digging into their, meals. Bald is beautiful, folks. If the savannah had a beauty pageant, the lilac-breasted roller would win every time. This stunning bird looks like it flew through a paint factory, sporting vibrant hues of blue, green, and purple. It's a literal work of art in motion. The roller gets its name from its dramatic courtship displays. Males perform aerial acrobatics, flipping and rolling through the air to impress potential mates. It's like a Cirque du Soleil performance, but with feathers. And let's be honest, who wouldn't be impressed? These birds are also skilled hunters, snatching insects mid-flight with pinpoint accuracy. It's like catching popcorn in your mouth, but way cooler. No discussion of African bird life would be complete without the ostrich. This flightless giant is the largest bird in the world, with legs that could kick you into next week. Despite their inability to fly, ostriches can run at speeds of up to 45 miles per hour. That's faster than most cars in city traffic. Ostriches are also masters of deception. When threatened, they don't actually bury their heads in the sand. That's a myth. Instead, they lie flat on the ground, blending in with their surroundings. It's like playing dead, but with extra flair. Fun fact, ostriches lay the largest eggs of any bird species. One ostrich egg is equivalent to about 2 dozen chicken eggs. Breakfast, anyone? Last but not least, let's talk about the African grey parrot. This brainy bird is a linguistic prodigy, capable of mimicking human speech with uncanny accuracy. If you've ever wanted a bird that can roast you in your own language, this is the one. African grey parrots are incredibly social and form strong bonds with their flock, or their human owners. They're also known for their problem-solving skills, which can sometimes lead to creative mischief. Leave your keys out, and you might find them relocated to the parrot's favorite hiding spot. Africa's bird life is as diverse as it is captivating. From the majestic fish eagle to the quirky secretary bird, these avian wonders showcase the incredible adaptability and ingenuity of nature. Whether they're soaring through the skies, strutting across the plains, or cleaning up after a feast, Africa's birds play vital roles in the ecosystem while providing endless entertainment. So next time you see a bird, take a moment to appreciate its unique quirks and talents. After all, the skies wouldn't be the same without these feathered masters. Welcome to the world of Africa's lesser-known but endlessly fascinating creatures. These pint-sized dynamos might not steal the spotlight like lions or elephants, but they more than make up for it with their ingenuity, charm, and, let's face it, occasionally ridiculous antics. Let's dive into the hidden kingdoms of dung beetles, meerkats, chameleons, and other tiny marvels. Ah, the dung beetle. It's not glamorous, but someone has to deal with all that poop. And these little guys are the unsung heroes of waste management. Picture this. A tiny beetle pushing a ball of dung 5 times its size like it's training for the Strongman World Championship. It's both impressive and oddly hilarious. Dung beetles are not just strong, they're strategic. They roll their prized poop balls to a safe spot, bury them, and then lay eggs inside. When the baby beetles hatch, they have an all-you-can-eat buffet waiting for them. It's the ultimate meal prep plan. And get this, scientists discovered that dung beetles navigate using the Milky Way. That's right. These poop-rolling prodigies are also amateur astronomers. Who knew fecal logistics could be so sophisticated? Next up, we have meerkats, the ultimate team players. These adorable critters live in tight-knit groups or mobs where everyone has a role. There's the lookout, standing tall on its hind legs like it's auditioning for the Lion King, and the babysitters, who ensure the younglings don't get into too much trouble. Meerkats are expert diggers, creating elaborate tunnel systems that would make an architect jealous. These burrows protect them from predators and the harsh African sun. They're also surprisingly feisty, often banding together to scare off snakes or other threats. Imagine a group of meerkats yelling, "Not today, Cobra," as they chase it off. Their diet? Anything from insects to small reptiles. They're not picky eaters, but they're smart about it. Meerkats have been seen teaching their young how to safely handle venomous scorpions, removing the stinger first.
Talk about life skills.
If there were an Academy Award for Best Disguise, the chameleon would win every year. These masters of camouflage can change their skin color to blend into their surroundings or express their mood. Feeling flirty? Turn bright. Feeling threatened? Go dark. It's like wearing your emotions on your sleeve. Literally. But wait, there's more. Chameleons have tongues that can extend up to twice the length of their bodies to snag prey. It's like having a super-powered lasso. And those eyes. They can move independently, giving the chameleon a 360-degree view. Imagine being able to watch Netflix and keep an eye on the fridge at the same time. Genius. Chameleons also have a surprisingly slow and deliberate walk, almost like they're in slow motion. It's part of their stealth strategy, ensuring they don't alert potential prey or predators. Patience is clearly their superpower. The pangolin might look like it's wearing a medieval suit of armor, but this scaly mammal is very much a creature of the modern world, and one of its most trafficked. These shy, nocturnal animals use their scales for protection, curling into a tight ball when threatened. It's like pulling the ultimate security blanket over yourself. Pangolins are insectivores, with a particular fondness for ants and termites. Their long, sticky tongues are perfect for slurping up these tiny snacks. And their digging skills? Top-notch. Pangolins can excavate termite mounds faster than you can say, extra crunchy. Speaking of termites, these little critters are nature's ultimate builders. Their mounds can reach heights of up to 30 feet, complete with ventilation systems that would put modern skyscrapers to shame. Inside, you'll find a bustling city with workers, soldiers, and a queen running the show. Termites might be small, but their impact on the ecosystem is massive. They break down dead plant material, recycling nutrients back into the soil. Without termites, the savanna would be a much less fertile place. So next time you see a termite mound, give it a little nod of respect. No list of small but mighty creatures would be complete without the honey badger. These pint-sized powerhouses have a reputation for being absolutely fearless. Lions? Leopards? Poisonous snakes? The honey badger takes them all on with zero hesitation. What's their secret? Thick, loose skin and a stubborn attitude. If a predator grabs them, they can twist around and fight back. And their diet? Everything from honey and insects to small mammals. They'll even raid beehives, enduring multiple stings to get to the sweet stuff. Talk about determination. Africa's hidden kingdoms are a testament to the incredible diversity and ingenuity of the animal kingdom. These small creatures might not get the spotlight, but they're essential players in the ecosystem, each contributing in their unique way. So the next time you're marveling at a lion or an elephant, don't forget to look down. The tiny dung beetle, the feisty meerkat, and the stealthy chameleon all have stories just as fascinating and worth celebrating. Africa's rivers are more than just shimmering veins of life flowing through the land. They are home to some of the continent's most formidable and fascinating creatures. Meet the river giants, crocodiles and hippos. They might share the same watery habitat, but their lifestyles, quirks and sheer ferocity make them standout stars of the aquatic world. Let's dive in, but not too deep. We value our limbs. Crocodiles are the very definition of prehistoric. These scaly reptiles have been around for over 200 million years. That's older than the dinosaurs, and way older than your grandma's antique vase collection. When you look into a crocodile's cold, calculating eyes, you're essentially staring into the past, and also your potential demise if you're too close. Crocodiles are masters of ambush. They'll lurk just below the water's surface, barely visible until... BAM! They explode out of the water like a scaly missile. Their powerful jaws clamp down with a bite force of over 3,700 pounds per square inch. For context, that's enough to crush bones like their potato chips. These jaws aren't just for show. They're designed to take down prey as large as wildebeests, or even the occasional zebra foolish enough to stop for a drink. But crocodiles aren't all brute force. They're also surprisingly clever. They'll work together to herd fish or time their attacks to coincide with migration crossings. And let's not forget their infamous death roll. When a crocodile grabs its prey, it twists its body in a wild spinning motion to tear off chunks of flesh. Imagine a breakdancer, but significantly more deadly. Interestingly, crocodiles also have a softer side, sort of. Mother crocs are incredibly protective of their eggs and hatchlings. They'll gently carry the babies in their mouths to the water, proving that even the most fearsome predators have a maternal streak. Now let's talk about the hippopotamus, or as I like to call it, the river's grumpy heavyweight champion. Hippos might look like oversized marshmallows with legs, but don't let their chubby exterior fool you. These creatures are among the most dangerous animals in Africa, responsible for more human deaths than lions or crocodiles. Yes, that's right. Hippos are the real river gangsters. Hippos are deceptively fast. Despite weighing up to 4,000 pounds, they can run at speeds of 19 miles per hour on land. That's faster than Usain Bolt on a bad day. In the water, they're even more agile, gliding through the currents with surprising grace, thanks to their buoyant bodies and webbed feet. What really sets hippos apart is their temperament. They're like that one grumpy neighbor who yells at kids for playing on their lawn. Territorial to the extreme, hippos will fiercely defend their stretch of riverbank from anything they perceive as a threat, be it a crocodile, a lion, or an unlucky canoeist. Their massive jaws can open up to 180 degrees, and their tusk-like canines can grow up to 20 inches long. When a hippo charges, you're not dealing with a fluffy river cow. You're facing a 4,000-pound freight train with teeth. Crocodiles and hippos share the same habitat, which inevitably leads to some tension. Crocs usually steer clear of adult hippos, knowing full well they're no match for those massive jaws and bad attitude. But baby hippos, that's another story. Crocs will occasionally try their luck, though this often ends with a very angry hippo mom chasing them off in a flurry of splashes and chomps. Interestingly, hippos and crocs have a sort of uneasy truce. You'll often see them lounging in the same waters, keeping a wary eye on each other. It's the ultimate example of keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Both crocodiles and hippos play vital roles in their ecosystems. Crocodiles help control fish populations, ensuring a balanced aquatic food chain. Their scavenging habits also clean up carcasses, preventing the spread of disease. Hippos, on the other hand, are like nature's lawnmowers. When they graze on land at night, they consume massive amounts of grass. Their droppings, which they enthusiastically fling around with their tails, yes, really, fertilize rivers and provide nutrients for fish and other aquatic life. It's a dirty job, but someone's got to do it. Fun facts you didn't know. Crocodiles can go months without eating, waiting patiently for the perfect meal. Talk about intermittent fasting goals. Hippos secrete a reddish fluid often mistaken for blood. It's actually a natural sunscreen and antibacterial lotion. Hippos are basically their own spa. Crocs have a built-in swimming snorkel. Their nostrils, eyes and ears are all positioned on top of their heads, allowing them to stay mostly submerged while keeping an eye and ear out for prey. Despite their differences, hippos and crocodiles share one surprising trait: a love for basking in the sun. You'll often find them chilling side by side, soaking up the rays. Who knew these rivals could have a spa day together? The rivers of Africa are more than just picturesque backdrops. They're dynamic ecosystems teeming with life, drama, and let's face it, a fair bit of chaos. Crocodiles and hippos may be vastly different, but they each bring their own unique flair to the waterways they call home. Whether you're marveling at a crocodile's stealthy ambush or chuckling at a hippo's grumpy antics, one thing is clear: life in the river is never dull. Nestled in the heart of southern Africa lies one of nature's greatest masterpieces, the Okavango Delta. This UNESCO World Heritage Site is not just a delta, it's an ever-changing, seasonally flooded oasis teeming with life. Think of it as nature's own Las Vegas, where the wildlife comes to party, procreate, and occasionally eat one another. Let's take a closer look at this natural wonder and the incredible creatures that call it home. Most rivers flow into the sea, but not the Okavango. Nope, this river decided to break all the rules. Originating in the highlands of Angola, it winds its way through Namibia before spilling into the sands of the Kalahari Desert in Botswana. Instead of finding an ocean, it creates a sprawling wetland, an intricate labyrinth of channels, lagoons, and islands that looks like Mother Nature's doodle pad. The result: a lush paradise in the middle of an arid landscape. It's like finding a five-star resort in the middle of nowhere. And just like any great resort, the Okavango Delta attracts an impressive guest list. The Okavango Delta is a sanctuary for some of Africa's most iconic animals. It's like the VIP lounge for wildlife. Here's the lineup. Elephants. These gentle giants are frequent visitors, using the delta as their personal spa. They'll wade through the waters, munching on aquatic plants and cooling off from the relentless sun. Lions, known as the swimming lions of the Okavango, these big cats have adapted to the wetland environment. Watching a lion paddle through the water is equal parts majestic and slightly hilarious. Leopards stealthy and elusive, leopards thrive in the delta's dense vegetation. They're the ninjas of the animal kingdom, silently stalking prey with unmatched precision. Hippos no wetland would be complete without these grumpy, territorial river dwellers. The delta's lagoons are their playground, and they'll let everyone know who's boss with their thunderous bellows. Birds over 400 species of birds call the delta home, making it a paradise for birdwatchers. From the striking African fish eagle to the flamboyant lilac-breasted roller, the skies here are a kaleidoscope of colors. The Okavango Delta's magic lies in its seasonal flooding. Every year, rains from Angola's highlands travel over 1,000 kilometers to reach the delta, turning the dry savanna into a watery wonderland. The timing is impeccable. The floodwaters arrive during Botswana's dry season, providing a lifeline for countless animals. Picture this. As the waters creep in, animals gather like attendees at a highly anticipated concert. Antelopes prance, crocodiles lurk, and hippos claim their turf. The floodwaters bring life, but they also set the stage for drama, predators stalking prey, territorial battles, and sometimes unexpected alliances. While the big animals often steal the spotlight, the Okavango Delta is also home to countless smaller, equally fascinating creatures. Sitatunga. This swamp-dwelling antelope is a master of aquatic life. With splayed hooves perfect for walking on water plants, they're like the delta's own Jesus Christ lizard. African clawed frogs. These quirky amphibians spend most of their time underwater and are known for their comical, almost clumsy movements. Papyrus frogs tiny but mighty, these frogs live in the dense papyrus reeds, adding their chirps to the delta's symphony of sounds. Fishing spiders. Yes, you read that right. Spiders that fish. These eight-legged anglers use the water's surface tension to catch their prey. Nightmare fuel or fascinating? You decide. The Okavango Delta isn't just a haven for wildlife. It's also home to humans who have lived in harmony with this environment for centuries. The Batawana and Basawa people have a deep connection to the delta, relying on its resources for fishing, farming, and cultural practices. Their traditional dugout canoes, called mokoros, are the perfect way to navigate the labyrinth of waterways without disturbing the ecosystem. Fun facts about the Okavango Delta. The delta is so vast that it's visible from space. Astronauts have described it as a green jewel in a sea of sand. During the flood season, the delta swells to 3 times its size, covering up to 15,000 square kilometers. The Okavango Delta is home to some of the rarest animals in the world, including the African wild dog and the Sitatunga antelope. Ever heard of a termite island? Many of the delta's islands are formed by termites, whose mounds act as foundations for vegetation to grow. The Okavango Delta is more than just a geographical feature. It's a living, breathing masterpiece. It's a place where nature's creativity knows no bounds, where every corner offers a new story, a new marvel, and occasionally a good laugh. Whether you're mesmerized by a hunting lion or amused by a waddling Sitatunga, the delta has a way of capturing hearts and minds. So next time you hear about the Okavango Delta, don't just think of it as a pretty place. Think of it as Africa's most exclusive club, where every creature, big or small, has a role to play in this epic, watery saga. Deep in the heart of Africa lie verdant realms teeming with life, the rainforests. These dense, humid jungles are not just oxygen factories for the planet, but also a treasure trove of biodiversity. From towering trees that seem to touch the heavens to tiny critters that dwell in the shadows, the African rainforests are a symphony of life. Today, we're venturing into this living, breathing wonderland to uncover its secrets, meet its elusive inhabitants, and perhaps dodge a few surprises along the way. Buckle up, because things are about to get wild, literally. Rainforests cover about 18% of Africa's landmass, with the Congo Basin being the largest of them all. Stretching across 6 countries, this sprawling jungle is second only to the Amazon in size and biodiversity. Think of it as Mother Nature's greatest flex. Here, trees don't just grow, they dominate. Giants like the mahogany and the African teak rise over 200 feet, their canopies forming a lush green ceiling that blocks most sunlight from reaching the forest floor. Beneath this leafy dome lies a world of constant motion, where every square inch seems alive with creatures great and small. No discussion of African rainforests would be complete without mentioning the primates. Gorillas and chimpanzees are the headliners here, and honestly, they deserve their superstar status. Gorillas. These gentle giants are the largest of all primates, but don't let their size fool you. Gorillas are more into munching leaves than smashing skulls. A typical day for a gorilla involves eating up to 40 pounds of vegetation, napping, and occasionally flexing their chest-beating skills to remind everyone who's boss. Silverbacks, the alpha males, are the CEOs of gorilla troops, managing their groups with a mix of authority and occasional drama. Chimpanzees. If gorillas are the Zen monks of the jungle, chimps are the mischief makers. These guys are so smart they make us question how far we've really come as humans. Tool use? Check. Complex social structures? Double check. Pranks? Oh, you better believe it. Watching chimps interact is like watching a soap opera. There's love, betrayal, and more than a little monkey business. Fun fact, chimps and humans share about 98% of their DNA, which might explain why they're so relatable. Ever seen a chimp throw a tantrum? Same energy as a toddler denied ice cream. While gorillas and chimps often steal the spotlight, the African rainforests are home to a dazzling array of other creatures. Okapi. Imagine a zebra and a giraffe had a love child. That's the okapi, a shy and elusive herbivore found only in the Congo rainforest. They're so secretive that locals call them the ghosts of the forest. Forest elephants. Smaller and shyer than their savanna cousins, forest elephants play a crucial role in maintaining the rainforest ecosystem by spreading seeds far and wide. Essentially, they're the gardeners of the jungle. Birds. The rainforests are alive with the calls of hornbills, turacos, and sunbirds. The great blue turaco, with its vibrant plumage, is like the peacock of the jungle, always ready to steal the show. Insects. From dazzling butterflies to industrious ants, the rainforest's tiniest residents are also its busiest. Army ants, for instance, are nature's cleanup crew, swarming through the undergrowth in a relentless search for food. The rainforest is a vertical world with distinct layers, each bustling with activity. Emergent layer. This is where the tallest trees rise above the canopy, their branches home to eagles, monkeys, and occasionally a daring human researcher. Canopy, the dense green roof where most of the action happens. From fruit bats to tree frogs, this layer is a hotbed of activity. Understory dark and humid, this layer is where you'll find snakes, leopards, and those sneaky okapis. Forest floor. Despite its gloom, the ground is alive with fungi, insects, and the occasional pangolin shuffling through the leaf litter. The African rainforests are full of mysteries waiting to be uncovered. Scientists are still discovering new species here, from brightly colored frogs to bizarre fungi that look like alien life forms. And then there are the legends. Mokele Mbembe, a dinosaur-like creature said to inhabit the swamps of the Congo. Real? Probably not. Fascinating? Absolutely. Hidden tribes. Several indigenous communities, such as the Baka and the Mbuti, live within the rainforest, their traditional knowledge offering invaluable insights into this complex ecosystem. The African rainforests aren't just important for Africa, they're crucial for the entire planet. They act as massive carbon sinks, help regulate global weather patterns, and are a source of countless medicinal plants. Protecting them isn't just about saving the gorillas or the okapis, it's about preserving the lungs of the earth. Fun facts. The Congo rainforest is so dense that some parts remain unexplored to this day. Who knows what's lurking out there? African forest elephants can eat up to 300 pounds of vegetation a day. Talk about an appetite. The rainforest produces so much moisture that it creates its own weather system, with daily rainstorms a common occurrence. The African rainforests are a vibrant, chaotic, and utterly enchanting world. They're a place where the line between reality and magic blurs, where every rustle in the leaves could be a chimp swinging by, or a bird taking flight. As we venture deeper into these green havens, we're reminded of the incredible diversity of life on our planet and the urgent need to protect it. So next time you hear about the African rainforests, picture them not as a far-off jungle, but as a living, breathing treasure chest of wonders. And maybe, just maybe, Think about how you can help keep this treasure intact for generations to come. Welcome to Africa's deserts, where survival is less about strength and more about outsmarting nature. Imagine living in a place where the sun feels like it's staging a personal grudge match against you. Temperatures soar, water is as rare as a truthful politician, and yet life not only exists here, it thrives. How, you ask? Let's dive into the sandy secrets of Africa's desert survivors. The camel is the undisputed heavyweight champion of the desert. These guys are basically nature's version of an all-terrain vehicle. With humps that act as fat storage, they can go weeks without food or water. It's like they have their own portable pantry, but instead of snacks, it's pure survival juice. And those long, gangly legs? Perfect for keeping their bodies far from the scorching ground. Not to mention their eyelids, which are basically nature's version of high-end sunglasses, protecting their eyes from the sand. Camels don't just survive the desert. They walk through it like they own the place. They're the original cool kids of the dunes. But camels aren't the only stars of this unforgiving terrain. Enter the oryx, the elegant antelope that looks like it's perpetually dressed for a royal ball. The oryx has mastered the art of staying cool in a place that wants to fry you alive. It's like their body comes with a built-in AC system. When the heat cranks up, they raise their body temperature to avoid sweating away their precious water reserves.
Talk about a life hack.
And those horns? They're not just for show. The oryx uses them to defend itself against predators. Think of it as carrying a pair of swords at all times, just in case someone gets too close. Then we have the fennec fox, a creature so adorable it could melt even the iciest of hearts. With ears that could double as satellite dishes, the fennec fox can hear insects burrowing under the sand. These oversized ears also help them dissipate heat. Imagine having built-in air conditioning on your head. They're also nocturnal, because why face the sun's wrath when you can party under the stars? During the day, they're snug in their burrows, avoiding the blazing heat, and by night, they're out hunting like tiny desert ninjas. Of course, survival in the desert isn't just about beating the heat. It's about finding food and water in places where both seem like cruel jokes. Many desert animals, like the sand cat, have evolved to extract water directly from their prey. Imagine having a diet where every meal comes with a drink included. Meanwhile, beetles in the Namib Desert literally harvest water from fog. They position themselves just right so droplets condense on their backs, which they then drink. Yes, beetles are out here playing 4D chess while we're still trying to figure out how to make our plants survive a week without watering. And let's not forget the plants. The mighty baobab tree, known as the tree of life, stores gallons of water in its trunk. It's like a giant natural water tank. Some desert plants also have roots so deep they could probably find the Titanic. Others, like the welwitschia, are content with sipping fog and living for over 1,000 years. Seriously, these plants are the Zen masters of the desert. The desert is a harsh, unforgiving place, but it's also a testament to nature's creativity and resilience. Life here is a masterclass in adaptation, resourcefulness, and just plain stubbornness. Every creature, from the mighty camel to the tiny beetle, has its own unique strategy for outsmarting the elements. So next time you're sweating through a hot day, spare a thought for these desert survivors. They're not just enduring the heat, they're thriving in it, with style, grace, and a dash of humor. Let's talk about a relationship more complex than a soap opera: humans and African wildlife. It's a bond filled with drama, triumph, heartbreak, and occasionally some very awkward encounters. From the iconic Maasai herders to modern-day conservationists, the coexistence of people and wildlife in Africa is a tale of resilience, adaptation, and more than a few close calls. Picture the Maasai herders of East Africa, dressed in their bright shukas and carrying staffs that could double as props for an action movie. These warriors live in close quarters with lions, not as enemies, but as reluctant neighbors who have agreed to an uneasy truce. Maasai traditions often involve cattle, which lions see as a convenient buffet. But the Maasai have developed ingenious ways to protect their herds, like constructing bomas, thorny enclosures that scream, "Lions, not today!" It's a bit like building a castle, if castles were made of sharp sticks and sheer determination. Then there are the farmers, the unsung heroes of coexistence. Imagine trying to grow crops in a place where elephants casually stroll through your field, treating it like their personal salad bar. Farmers have had to get creative, using chili fences and beehive barriers to deter these jumbo-sized snackers. Yes, you heard that right, bees. Elephants may be the largest land animals, but they're terrified of tiny, buzzing insects. It's like discovering that Superman is scared of spiders. Speaking of ingenuity, let's not forget the conservationists. These folks are the rock stars of the human-wildlife connection.
Armed with GPS trackers, drones, and an unshakable love for nature, they're out there protecting endangered species and ensuring ecosystems thrive. Take anti-poaching units, for example. These teams work around the clock, often in dangerous conditions, to stop illegal hunting. It's like a high-stakes game of hide-and-seek, except the stakes are the survival of a species. And then there are the tourists, the curious outsiders who come armed with cameras and safari hats. Tourism is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it provides vital funding for conservation efforts. On the other hand, there's always that one guy who gets too close to a lion for the perfect selfie. Pro tip: if you're within paw swipe distance of a predator, you've gone too far. Tourists also fuel the local economy, buying everything from handcrafted beadwork to giraffe-shaped keychains. It's a win-win, as long as everyone keeps their hands and snacks inside the vehicle. But coexistence isn't always smooth sailing. Conflicts arise, often because humans and animals are competing for the same resources. Take water, for example. In drought-prone areas, both people and wildlife rely on the same watering holes. This can lead to tense standoffs where an elephant's thirst meets a farmer's need to irrigate crops. Resolving these conflicts requires diplomacy, innovation, and sometimes just a lot of patience. In recent years, technology has stepped in as the ultimate peacemaker. Drones monitor wildlife movements, alerting communities when elephants are on the move. Solar-powered fences keep predators at bay while minimizing environmental impact. Even apps have joined the party, helping locals report wildlife sightings and potential conflicts in real time. It's like having a neighborhood watch, but for lions and elephants. Let's not forget the cultural side of this connection. Many African communities hold deep spiritual and cultural ties to wildlife. In some traditions, animals are seen as sacred or as symbols of strength and wisdom. These beliefs foster respect and a sense of stewardship that's crucial for conservation. For example, the Samburu people have a deep reverence for elephants, often referring to them as family. It's a reminder that coexistence isn't just about survival, it's about mutual respect. And then there are the success stories, the moments that make you believe in the power of collaboration. Take the community-led conservancies in Kenya, where locals manage protected areas and benefit directly from tourism revenue. These initiatives have not only boosted wildlife populations, but also improved livelihoods, proving that coexistence can be a win for everyone involved. But let's be real. Sometimes, wildlife and humans get it hilariously wrong. Like the time a baboon stole someone's lunch right out of their hand, or when a tourist's camera bag became a plaything for curious monkeys. These moments, while frustrating, are also a reminder of the delicate dance between two very different worlds. The human-wildlife connection in Africa is a story of challenges and triumphs, of ancient traditions meeting modern solutions. It's proof that with a little creativity, a lot of patience, and maybe a few chili fences, we can all learn to share this incredible planet. After all, if a farmer can outsmart an elephant and a Maasai herder can coexist with lions, there's hope for all of us. Let's dive into the epic battle to save endangered species, where humans play both the villain and the unlikely hero. Picture it as a blockbuster movie, complete with drama, action, and maybe a few tears, starring rhinos, pangolins, and a supporting cast of scientists, activists, and everyday heroes. This fight is no walk in the park. It's more like a walk through a minefield, with poachers, deforestation, and climate change lurking around every corner. Take the rhinoceros, for example. These guys are like the armored tanks of the animal world, tough, resilient, and unfairly targeted for their horns. Why? Because some people think rhino horns have magical medicinal properties. Spoiler alert, they're made of keratin, the same stuff as your fingernails. So technically you could chew on your nails and call it traditional medicine, but somehow that's less glamorous. Organizations across Africa are stepping up to protect rhinos, using everything from armed patrols to dehorning, a procedure where the horn is safely removed to make the animal less appealing to poachers. It's a bit like taking the cherry off a cake, but in this case it could save a life. And then there are pangolins, those scaly, shy creatures that look like a cross between an armadillo and a pine cone. Pangolins hold the dubious title of the most trafficked mammals in the world, thanks to their scales and meat being in high demand. Conservationists are working tirelessly to shut down illegal wildlife markets, rehabilitate rescued pangolins, and raise awareness about these unique animals. Pangolins may not roar like lions or stomp like elephants, but they're just as important to the ecosystem. Speaking of ecosystems, let's talk about how climate change is throwing everything out of whack. Rising temperatures, shifting rainfall patterns, and extreme weather events are making life harder for countless species. For example, coral reefs, often called the rainforests of the sea, are bleaching and dying at an alarming rate. This spells trouble not just for marine life, but also for coastal communities that depend on fishing and tourism. Scientists are fighting back with innovative solutions like coral gardening, where healthy coral fragments are grown and transplanted to damaged reefs. It's like giving nature a second chance, one tiny coral at a time. Of course, we can't talk about extinction without mentioning the elephants. These gentle giants are under threat from poaching and habitat loss. But here's where the plot thickens. Elephants are incredibly intelligent and emotional creatures. They mourn their dead, form deep family bonds, and even show signs of self-awareness. Protecting them isn't just about saving a species, it's about preserving a legacy of wisdom and wonder. Anti-poaching units, wildlife corridors, and community conservation programs are all part of the effort to keep elephants roaming the savannas. But it's not all doom and gloom. There are plenty of success stories to inspire hope. Take the mountain gorilla, once on the brink of extinction. Thanks to coordinated conservation efforts, their population is now steadily increasing. Tourists, under strict guidelines, can visit these gorillas in their natural habitat, providing much-needed funds for conservation while fostering a deeper appreciation for wildlife. It's a win-win, as long as you don't try to take a selfie with a gorilla. Trust me, they're not fans of the paparazzi. Let's not forget the role of local communities in this fight. Many conservation programs are now involving locals as key stakeholders. After all, who better to protect the land and its inhabitants than the people who call it home? From ecotourism ventures to sustainable farming practices, these initiatives are proving that conservation and development can go hand in hand. It's like finding out your favorite dessert is also good for you, sweet and satisfying. And then there are the unsung heroes, the scientists, rangers, and activists who dedicate their lives to this cause. These folks are like the Avengers of conservation, using cutting-edge technology and old-fashioned grit to turn the tide. Whether it's tracking animals with GPS collars, setting up camera traps, or lobbying for stronger wildlife laws, their work is making a difference. And let's not forget the everyday heroes, people like you who support these efforts by donating, spreading awareness, or even just choosing sustainable products. You might not wear a cape, but you're a hero nonetheless. So what can we do to help? Start small. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Support ethical tourism. Say no to products made from endangered species. And if you ever get the chance, visit a wildlife reserve or sanctuary. Seeing these incredible animals up close can be a life-changing experience, and it'll give you stories to tell for years. Just remember, the fight against extinction isn't over. It's a battle worth fighting, not just for the animals, but for the planet we all share. Because when it comes to saving the world, every little bit helps. Even if it's just choosing to care. When the sun dips below the horizon and paints the African sky with streaks of orange and pink, another world begins to stir. Welcome to Africa's nightlife, a realm of shadows, whispers, and the occasional unearthly scream. Under the moonlight, the savannah transforms into nature's ultimate nightclub, complete with a guest list that includes prowling predators, stealthy scavengers, and the odd insect looking for love. And trust me, this party is anything but boring. First, let's talk about the headliners of the night, the big cats. Lions, often called the kings of the savannah, are surprisingly lazy during the day. But come nightfall, they turn into hunting machines. With their sharp eyes, excellent night vision, and coordinated teamwork, lions are the ultimate predators of the dark. Picture a group of lionesses whispering their hunting strategies, as if they're planning a heist. It's Ocean's 11, but with more claws and a lot less George Clooney. Then there are the leopards, the silent assassins of the African nightlife. These solitary cats have mastered the art of sneaking. They can slink through tall grass, scale trees, and pounce on unsuspecting prey faster than you can say, "Where'd it go?" Leopards are also fans of fine dining, dragging their meals up trees to avoid sharing with hyenas. It's like taking your food to the VIP lounge of the savannah. Speaking of hyenas, these misunderstood creatures are the comedians of the night. Known for their eerie, laughter-like calls, hyenas are often cast as the villains in nature's drama. But don't be fooled, they're incredibly intelligent and efficient. Hyenas will hunt when they can and scavenge when they must, often snatching leftovers from lions. It's a game of finders keepers, and hyenas usually win thanks to their sheer persistence and powerful jaws. Let's not forget the night's quieter, smaller stars. The bush babies, with their enormous eyes and ninja-like agility, are like tiny Jedi masters of the treetops. They leap between branches with the grace of a ballet dancer and the energy of a toddler who just ate too much candy. These little primates may be small, but their big personalities light up the night. Meanwhile, aardvarks roam the dark like introverted foodies on a mission. Armed with powerful claws and a long, sticky tongue, they're on an eternal quest for ants and termites. Watching an aardvark in action is like witnessing someone devour an all-you-can-eat buffet with zero shame. Respect. The African night is also alive with sound. Frogs croak, crickets chirp, and cicadas hum in an orchestra of nocturnal noise. But perhaps the most haunting sound is the call of the African fish eagle, echoing over moonlit rivers. It's the kind of sound that makes you think, yep, I'm in Africa. And then there are the insect parties. Fireflies blink like tiny disco lights, while dung beetles roll their prized possessions under the cover of darkness. It's a reminder that even the smallest creatures have a role to play in this grand ecosystem. Sure, rolling poop isn't glamorous, but someone's got to do it. No discussion of African nightlife would be complete without mentioning the nocturnal reptiles. The Nile crocodile, for instance, lies in wait at the water's edge, blending in with the stillness of the river. When an unsuspecting animal comes to drink, it's game over. Crocodiles are the ultimate ambush predators, and their patience is unmatched. It's like fishing, but with teeth. The African moon itself seems to play a starring role in this nocturnal theatre. Its silver light casts long shadows and illuminates the landscape, adding an air of mystery to the proceedings. For nocturnal creatures, the moon is both a guide and a spotlight, revealing their secrets to those lucky enough to witness them. But perhaps the most magical aspect of Africa's nightlife is its unpredictability. One moment you're watching a porcupine waddle through the grass. The next you're hearing the distant roar of a lion. It's a world where anything can happen, and everything feels alive. So, if you ever find yourself under the African moonlight, stay awake. The night is calling, and you won't want to miss the show.
Ah, insects, nature's tiny misunderstood heroes.
They're the unsung workers of the African ecosystems, tirelessly buzzing, crawling, and hopping their way into the very foundation of life. Without them, the whole ecosystem would collapse faster than a house of cards in a hurricane. But don't worry, I'm here to convince you that insects aren't just creepy crawlies. They're the backstage crew, making sure the African wilderness stays in tip-top shape. So grab your magnifying glass, or don't if you're squeamish, and let's explore the wacky, wild, and downright weird world of insects. First, let's talk about pollination. Bees, butterflies, and even beetles are the overachieving matchmakers of the plant world. They dart from flower to flower, unintentionally carrying pollen like it's the hottest gossip in town. Without these busybodies, many plants would simply pack it up and go extinct.
And you thought Tinder was crucial for matchmaking?
African bees, in particular, are like the valedictorians of pollination. They're efficient, hard-working, and yes, occasionally aggressive. But can you blame them? If you spent your day covered in pollen and dodging predators, you'd be a little grumpy too. Butterflies, on the other hand, are the divas of the insect world. They're dressed to impress with their vibrant wings, flitting around like they own the place. But don't be fooled by their beauty. They're essential workers too. By pollinating plants, they help ensure the survival of entire ecosystems. Plus, they provide free entertainment with their drunken-looking flight patterns. Seriously, have you ever watched a butterfly try to land on a flower? It's like watching someone parallel park for the first time. Now let's get into the food chain. Insects are basically nature's fast food. From frogs and lizards to birds and mammals, everyone wants a bite of these crunchy snacks. Take termites, for instance. These little guys might look like home wreckers to us, but to aardvarks and pangolins, they're a five-star meal. Watching an aardvark slurp up termites with its ridiculously long tongue is like witnessing someone win at spaghetti eating contests. It's messy, it's efficient, and it's oddly satisfying. And speaking of termites, did you know they're also architects? These tiny insects build massive mounds that can tower several feet high. It's like they're saying, yeah, we're small, but check out our real estate game. Inside these mounds, termites create an air conditioning system so advanced it could put human engineers to shame. Meanwhile, we're over here struggling to set the thermostat without arguing. Dung beetles deserve their own standing ovation. These little warriors take on a job no one else wants, rolling poop. But they're not just rolling it for fun, although who knows what goes on in the beetle world. They're actually cleaning up the environment and recycling nutrients back into the soil. Plus, dung beetles have a flair for the dramatic. Some species navigate using the Milky Way as a guide.
That's right. They're literally stargazing while rolling poop. Talk about multitasking.
Then there's the army ant, the ultimate team player. These ants don't mess around. They march in unison, taking down prey much larger than themselves with sheer teamwork and determination. It's like a tiny version of a rugby match, but with more legs and less sportsmanship. Army ants are so efficient that other animals, like birds, follow their trails to pick off the insects trying to escape. It's a whole ecosystem piggybacking on the industriousness of these tiny soldiers. And let's not forget about mosquitoes. Yes, they're annoying. Yes, they've ruined countless camping trips. But in the grand scheme of things, they're a vital food source for many creatures, from dragonflies to fish. Plus, their role in spreading diseases, while terrible for humans, actually helps regulate animal populations. It's nature's way of saying everything has a purpose, even if it's super annoying. Speaking of annoying, have you ever encountered a tsetse fly? These buzzing nuisances are like nature's paparazzi, always in your face and impossible to escape. But even they play a role in the ecosystem, helping to control overgrazing by keeping large herbivore populations in check. Plus, their presence has shaped human history in Africa, influencing where settlements could and couldn't thrive. Who knew a fly could be such a game changer? Africa's insect life isn't just about survival and utility, it's also about beauty and wonder. Fireflies light up the night with their bioluminescent glow, turning the landscape into a magical fairyland. And don't even get me started on the jewel beetles, whose shimmering metallic bodies look like they've been dipped in gold. These insects are nature's reminder that even the smallest creatures can be absolutely breathtaking. So the next time you're tempted to swat away a fly or cringe at the sight of a beetle, remember this. Insects are the backbone of Africa's ecosystems. They pollinate plants, feed other animals, clean up waste, and even help shape the environment. They're the unsung heroes, the tiny titans, and the backstage crew making sure the show goes on. Sure, they might be a little weird and a lot creepy, but let's face it, we'd be lost without them. And honestly, who wouldn't want to live in a world where dung beetles navigate by the stars? Africa, the land of dramatic sunsets and jaw-dropping wildlife, doesn't just set the stage for epic natural spectacles. It occasionally throws in some chaos for good measure. Droughts, fires, and floods aren't just weather events here. They're nature's way of saying, buckle up, folks, things are about to get real. But before you feel bad for the animals caught in the crossfire, let's dive into how these natural disasters shape Africa's landscapes and wildlife, and how resilience is the name of the game in this untamed continent. First up, droughts. If you think skipping your morning coffee makes you cranky, imagine what it's like for a giraffe searching for water when every riverbed has turned into a dusty memory. Droughts in Africa can stretch on for years, turning lush savannas into barren wastelands. But here's the kicker. Animals adapt. Elephants, for example, use their incredible memory to recall waterholes from decades past. They're like walking GPS systems, except they don't need Wi-Fi or a software update. And the humble camel? It's basically a water conservation genius, storing enough in its hump to survive weeks without a drink. Meanwhile, some plants, like the baobab tree, hoard water in their massive trunks, making them the ultimate survivalists. Who needs bottled water when you've got a baobab? But droughts aren't all doom and gloom. They're nature's version of spring cleaning. By thinning out weaker plants and animals, droughts ensure that only the toughest survive. It's brutal, sure, but it's also the reason Africa's ecosystems are so dynamic. Plus, when the rains finally return, the transformation is nothing short of magical. Parched landscapes burst into life, and animals throw what can only be described as the wildest pool party ever. Next we have fires. Forget cozy campfires and marshmallows. We're talking about massive infernos that sweep across the savannah like nature's version of a deep clean. Fires in Africa might seem destructive, but they're actually vital for maintaining healthy ecosystems. Grasslands depend on fire to clear out dead vegetation, recycle nutrients, and make way for new growth. It's like hitting the reset button, but with a lot more smoke. And don't worry about the animals. They're not just sitting around waiting to be roasted. Most of them are pros at dodging flames. Birds like the red-billed quilea take to the skies, while burrowing animals like meerkats and warthogs hunker down underground. Even larger animals like antelopes and zebras know how to outpace a fire. And here's a fun fact. Some birds, like the black kite, actually use fire to their advantage. They'll pick up burning sticks and drop them in unburned areas to flush out prey. That's right, pyromaniac birds are a thing, and they're terrifyingly effective. Now, let's talk floods. When the rains come, they come hard. Rivers overflow, plains turn into lakes, and suddenly everyone's a swimmer, whether they want to be or not. But just like droughts and fires, floods play a crucial role in shaping Africa's ecosystems. They deposit nutrient-rich silt across the landscape, creating fertile ground for plants to flourish. The Okavango Delta, one of Africa's most iconic wetlands, owes its very existence to seasonal flooding. Without it, the delta would be nothing more than a dusty basin. Wildlife has learned to roll with the punches when it comes to floods. Hippos, for example, thrive in these watery conditions, using the opportunity to expand their aquatic territories. Crocodiles, meanwhile, take full advantage of the abundance of prey that comes with rising waters. Even animals like elephants and lions adapt, moving to higher ground and making the most of the new temporary landscape. It's survival of the adaptable, and Africa's wildlife aces the test every time. But floods aren't just about survival, they're also about opportunity. Fish, like the African lungfish, can burrow into the mud and hibernate until the waters return, while amphibians take full advantage of the wet conditions to breed like there's no tomorrow. It's a chaotic, bustling, and oddly beautiful cycle of life. Through it all, Africa's wildlife and landscapes demonstrate an incredible resilience. Droughts, fires, and floods may seem like catastrophic events to us, but to the creatures of Africa, they're just another day in the wild. These natural disasters shape the land, push species to their limits, and ultimately create some of the most diverse and dynamic ecosystems on the planet. So the next time you're complaining about bad weather, remember, somewhere in Africa, a dung beetle is probably rolling with it. Literally. Africa, a continent celebrated for its breathtaking landscapes and remarkable wildlife, faces a future fraught with challenges but also brimming with hope. Imagine this as a tug of war, with the forces of destruction on one side and passionate conservationists on the other. Spoiler alert, the good guys are not giving up. First up in the rogues gallery of threats is poaching. You'd think that in an era where we can 3D print almost anything, the demand for animal parts would be ancient history. But alas, poachers continue to target elephants for ivory, rhinos for their horns, and pangolins, those little armored cuties, for their scales. It's like a twisted shopping list from someone who missed the memo about wildlife protection laws. But it's not just about greed. Poaching is often tied to complex socio-economic issues, including poverty and organized crime. So the fight against poaching isn't just about catching the bad guys. It's about creating opportunities for local communities that don't involve raiding nature's pantry. And then there's habitat loss, nature's version of being evicted. As human populations grow, so do cities, farms, and infrastructure, all at the expense of forests, savannas, and wetlands. It's like wildlife is getting squeezed out by a never-ending game of musical chairs. And when the music stops, there's no place left to sit. Species like lions and cheetahs are losing the vast territories they need to thrive, while forest creatures like chimpanzees find their homes turned into logging sites or agricultural fields. The consequences ripple through ecosystems like a dropped pebble in a pond. And let's not forget climate change, the overachieving villain of our times. Rising temperatures, unpredictable weather patterns, and shifting rainfall are rewriting the rules of survival in Africa. Animals adapted to specific environments suddenly find themselves in conditions more extreme than your boss's Monday morning expectations. Coral reefs off Africa's coast are bleaching, savannas are turning into deserts, and food and water sources are becoming less reliable. If wildlife could vote, climate change would be unanimously labeled the worst roommate ever. But before you grab a tissue and start playing sad violin music, let's talk about the hopeful side of this story. Africa is also home to some of the most inspiring conservation efforts in the world. For instance, community-based conservation projects are flipping the script, turning local residents into stewards of the land. Take the Maasai people, who have long coexisted with wildlife. Their conservation programs are protecting species like lions, while also supporting sustainable livelihoods. It's a win-win. The lions get to roar another day, and the Maasai communities benefit from ecotourism revenue. Then there are the dedicated conservationists who work tirelessly to protect Africa's most vulnerable species. Anti-poaching units, often equipped with drones, dogs, and a good dose of grit, are patrolling national parks and reserves to keep wildlife safe. Organizations are also investing in breeding programs for critically endangered species. Ever heard of the northern white rhino? With only 2 left in the world, both female, scientists are racing against time to use advanced reproductive technology to save the species. It's basically a wildlife version of a sci-fi thriller. And let's not overlook the role of education and awareness. Schools, documentaries, and social media campaigns are inspiring a new generation to care about conservation. Children who grow up learning about the importance of ecosystems are less likely to become future poachers and more likely to become advocates for sustainable living. Who knew saving the planet could start with a biology lesson? Technology is also lending a helping hand. From satellite tracking of animals to detect illegal activities to AI-powered tools that predict poaching hotspots, innovation is playing a crucial role in conservation. Even blockchain technology is being used to ensure transparency in ecotourism and conservation funding. Yes, blockchain isn't just for cryptocurrency, it's also for rhinos. So what does the future hold for Africa's wildlife? Challenges, certainly, but also immense opportunities. The continent's unique ecosystems are resilient, as are the people fighting to protect them. By combining traditional knowledge with modern technology, empowering local communities, and fostering international collaboration, Africa can continue to be a beacon of biodiversity. In the end, the story of Africa's future isn't just about the animals or the landscapes. It's about us. It's about the choices we make, the priorities we set, and the values we pass on to future generations. After all, who wouldn't want to live in a world where elephants still roam the savannah, lions still rule the pride lands, and pangolins can live their lives without having to look over their scaly shoulders? Let's make it happen. As the sun dips below the horizon, painting the skies with hues of gold and crimson, we take a moment to reflect on the majesty that is Africa. This is not just a land. It's a symphony of life, a kaleidoscope of colors, and a living, breathing masterpiece sculpted over millennia. If nature had an Oscars, Africa would win Best Picture, Best Soundtrack, and Best Supporting Cast, because everyone here, from the towering elephants to the tiniest ants, plays their part in this epic tale. Let's start with the landscapes, shall we? From the rolling savannas of the Serengeti to the lush green canopies of the Congo rainforest and the stark, otherworldly beauty of the Namib Desert, Africa's terrains are as varied as they are stunning. It's as if Mother Nature had an artist's palette and decided, you know what, let's go all out here. Mountains rise like ancient guardians, rivers snake through the land like veins of life, and waterfalls cascade with a roar that would make even the mightiest lion pause in awe. Seriously, if your jaw isn't on the floor right now, check your pulse. Speaking of lions, let's talk about the wildlife. Oh, the wildlife. Africa is home to creatures so extraordinary they make your local zoo look like amateur hour. There's the sheer power of the Big Five: lions, leopards, elephants, rhinoceroses and buffaloes, each carrying a legacy as old as the continent itself. Then there are the unsung heroes, like the humble dung beetle, rolling its prized possession with a determination that puts most of us to shame. And don't forget the giraffes, those elegantly awkward giants, or the zebras who wear stripes like they're walking optical illusions. Who needs a fashion show when you've got a zebra? And let's not overlook the avian wonders. Africa's skies are graced by birds so flamboyant they'd make Vegas showgirls look dull. The African fish eagle's piercing cry is nature's version of a power ballad, while the secretary bird struts across the savannah like it owns the place, clipboard and all. Meanwhile, the flamingos of Lake Nakuru turn the waters pink, proving that nature isn't afraid to use pastels. If birds had a talent show, Africa's feathered residents would sweep every category. Nighttime in Africa is a whole different story, a realm of shadows and whispers. The nocturnal world comes alive with creatures like bush babies, whose enormous eyes seem to hold the secrets of the universe, and the stealthy leopards, masters of the moonlit hunt. The stars above form a celestial tapestry so vivid, it feels like you could reach out and touch them. It's a nightly reminder that while humans light up cities, nature illuminates entire skies. But Africa's story isn't just about its animals or landscapes. It's also about the people who share this land. From the Maasai herders who stride gracefully alongside their cattle to the conservationists working tirelessly to protect endangered species, humanity's connection to this land runs deep. Their stories, filled with resilience, innovation, and love for the wild, are as much a part of Africa as the roaring lions and rustling leaves. As our journey through Africa comes to an end, we're left with a profound sense of gratitude. This continent, with all its challenges and triumphs, is a testament to the incredible beauty of life in all its forms. It's a reminder that we're all part of something much bigger than ourselves, a global ecosystem where every species, every tree, and every drop of water has a role to play. So as the credits roll on this tribute to Africa, take a moment to reflect on what this land represents: resilience, diversity, and the raw, unfiltered magnificence of nature. And remember, whether you're on a safari or just watching from your couch, Africa's story is a story for all of us. Let's cherish it, protect it, and ensure that its wonders continue to inspire generations to come. After all, the world wouldn't be the same without Africa's roar.